viewers to our Founders Talk show. Today, we have with us Mr. Gautam Nimagadda, who is the founder and CEO of Quixy. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Antara, for having me on the show.
Please tell us something about your company.
So, Quixy is a no-code platform where our mission is basically to democratize digital transformation, right? So, the challenge that we saw in the world is a lot of organizations would want to make a lot of digital automation. But one of the major challenges that we come across is the ability to build applications, one at a low cost and at a much faster pace. So what the problem that we are trying to solve is to remove that bottleneck by allowing business users, or what we call as citizen developers, to be able to build applications or software without having to write a single line of code. So we are a year and a half old company, and we've made significant progress over the last year and a half, getting clients across the world in about 15 countries. We have 50 plus customers, big and small, government and private. And we see that there is a lot of momentum in this space where a lot of organizations are looking at no code as an important digital strategy for their future.
What are the services that you provide?
So the services, like I said, is the platform is our only product that we have. So our organization is a single product company. It is a no code platform which allows users, citizen developers, to build business applications 10 times faster and at a cost that is 50% or lower. So we've had multiple customers where they've built applications without any software engineering team. So it is purely business users, the domain specialists, and with a learning curve of a couple of weeks, they're able to understand how to use a no-code platform like ours, and then they've built business applications for their operations. So our core is to continuously innovate and create a platform which provides a very easy to use interface for users to build extremely powerful applications. So it's not some simple workflow that you can build, but in fact, extremely complex enterprise applications have also been built on Quixy and are being used in their daily lives.
That's very innovative. How do you think Quixy is different from its counterparts?
When we looked at this market and try to understand, what are the who are the different players and how are they addressing the problem of developer shortage, right? So essentially, it boils down to that. There is a demand to build 500 million apps over the next 5 years, but the prediction is there will only be capacity of developers to build only 50 million apps, right? So there is only 10% skill or 10% supply availability as against 500 million app demand. So now how do we fill in this 90% delta? And when we were looking at the market in terms of who else is there and what are they, how are they positioning themselves, how are they approaching this problem, this was like 3 years back. So we saw there were two types of platforms. One, extremely complex problems, like very complex problems can be solved, but you would have to be an expert to use such a platform. So you would have to be that platform developer, that platform architect, etc. And then on the other extreme, we had these other solutions which are extremely easy to use, but then they are also solving very simple problems. They cannot handle even the slight level of complexity. So we saw that there was, between these two extremes, we saw a space in between where the right mix of easy to use and the ability to solve complex problems was missing in the market, and that's what we bring to the table. We with Quixy, you will be able to solve fairly complex problems with very easy user interface, So essentially, the real meaning of citizen developer comes out where users without any software knowledge will be able to build software, completely through a visual development platform.
Tell us something about your entrepreneurial journey.
I did my master's in US, and then I worked in a as a software engineer in a company called Cerner, which is a healthcare IT company. I worked there for a couple of years before I moved to India, and I decided to move from software IT background to a different industry, right? So I actually joined an infrastructure company, and not in the role of a IT or software, but trying to understand how to from a management perspective. So my initial stint there was to implement an ERP in their organization, fairly large organization, about 500-600 million dollar revenue at that point. And we were trying to implement an ERP across their organization. So I was the sole responsibility of, because I was coming from a software background, that was the first responsibility given to me. And then I ended up also figuring out how to draft contracts, how to do international procurement and negotiations, how to work with green tribunal, how to ensure that environment, health, safety are those standards are um, the policies are properly implemented, and we measure up to those standards. And this whole variety of kinds of works, right? So we also got into dispute resolution. So it gave me a lot of exposure in terms of how does a business run, what are the various facets of a business. And the next step was I ended up going to, in the same group, I ended up going to their IT company. And there that's where I believe my entrepreneur journey began, where the company was not particularly doing well. So I was given the opportunity to turn around the company, and with a little bit of luck, and with some great teamwork, we were able to turn that company around, get some extremely good projects, and deliver them on time, within budget, and we did not just meet the expectations of the client. In fact, we went beyond. And that kind of really motivated me, right? When I saw a customer, when he's delighted, that really makes you happy. Not just the profit. The profit is a almost like a byproduct, but the delight that we saw in the customer's face, and the way they reacted to the way we delivered. So and it kind of motivated me, and then we started turning around that company with not just that one project, but we converted that momentum into a great teamwork, where we ended up building multiple products for maritime industry, for aviation industry, and for logistics industry. So once that company started turning around, and it was moving in a, it kind of got took off. And then I had this itch to build a no code platform for almost 10 years now. So I think in somewhere in 2016 was when I seriously sat down and decided that I'll start a side project. Let me figure out how to do this no code, and try to understand the market, try to understand who are the players, what is the there is a hypothetical problem that we are looking at. How real is that problem, and how would customers react? Basically, a market research. And I started off this side project late 2016, or maybe mid 2016. And then we started building Quixy with a small 2-member, 3-member team over a period of 2-3 years. And then after a lot of iterations and a lot of feedback loops, the product evolved. And in 2019, we felt that yes, I think we are at a stage where we can now actually make this product into a company. And so we incorporated in 2019, and ever since, it's been a fantastic journey. with Quixy. So we are continuing to learn. The learning has been tremendous, and I hope that we continue to learn for the next decade.
Definitely, sir. So, what are the major difficulties that you faced in your entrepreneurial journey?
I think one of the challenges was to be able to build trust. So in the first stint where I was the CEO of this IT company where we were trying to turn it around. So to be able to build trust among the team members, build confidence among the team members, and inspire them to be able to achieve something, because now we are trying to turn it around, right? So there was the lack of confidence in the team was visible. So it was very challenging, but also it was very fulfilling when it actually happened, right? When we were able to motivate the team, and the team came together, and now they practically became family, right? So the early parts of it, to bring them together, was difficult. Everybody has their own perception of how things would go. So trying to align everybody and make them believe that this is something that is worth going after, and this is how we should do. And but once that was done, I think the most challenging thing was also the most fulfilling thing.
What is your vision for Quixy in the future? What are your future plans regarding it?
We are very clear that our mission is to democratize the ability to build software, and to democratize digital transformation. So any organization should be able to transform their business digitally, and they should not have, or they should not be blocked by the traditional constraints of cost, speed, or lack of quality technology. So we want to ensure that every business in the world, our mission is to ensure that every business in the world should be able to build software, and to be able to use it for their organizations efficiency, improve their stakeholder uh, experience, have a great financial performance by making a digital a core part of the strategy. And we want to be the platform, or we are on that mission to allow all the businesses to be able to do that. So if that would require innovation, if that would require a different method of changing the market model, the business models, we are innovating on all fronts, whether it is technology, or the way it is positioned, or the way the business model is presented to the organization.
Any advice for the young entrepreneurs?
A few things. I think I did mention that I've been wanting to build this no code platform for about 10 years now, and 10 years is a long time, right? So I was able to persist with that idea for 10 years now. I think that's something that I would really advise the budding entrepreneurs, that you should persist with your idea. You should also be very practical about your idea. So if inside, deep down inside, that if this idea is not going to work, you need to also accept that. It doesn't mean that your idea is totally bad, right? If there is something wrong, then we should be totally be open minded to accept that feedback. While we are also accepting that feedback and correcting ourselves, we should also be very persistent about our idea. The slightest of criticism, or the slightest of hiccups, should not stop us from believing in ourselves, and believing in the basic vision and mission that we have.
What is your opinion about My Startup TV? We are a channel for MSMEs and startups.
No, this is a fantastic initiative that My Startup TV is doing. This actually brings together the startups and MSMEs, and who require the bulk of the knowledge, support, understanding of the ecosystem, and also exposure to startups and MSMEs, to their potential partners and customers. So the role that you're playing is fantastic, and I thank you for doing that.
So, thank you so much for joining us today. It was really great talking to you.
No, the pleasure was mine. Thank you, Antara.